You're listening to The Dating Den with dating and relationship badass and best-selling author Marni Battista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important dating, sex, and relationship issues you want to know about. So if you're ready for true talk that's authentic and unfiltered, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
The Dating Den with Blanca Cobb. How to read a man's body language. 5 signs that mean he's into you. Ladies, welcome into the Dating Den. I want to just change up when I go ladies, just to confuse you, because I know you guys always make comments about how I go ladies. So I'm going to be working on that. But in the meantime, I have been looking forward to this guest pretty much almost for like a year at this point. I don't know, at least 8 or 9 months. Blanca Cobb is in the house today. You say, who is she? Well, you might have heard of her because she's a world-renowned body language expert. She's had 1,000+ TV appearances. She's been on Steve Harvey, The Today Show, Megyn Kelly Today, all the doctors, Oz and Drew, CNN. She's been quoted in like hundreds of publications, Cosmo, Us Weekly, Elle, Daily Mail, and she even has a weekly spot on a CBS affiliate, WFMY News in North Carolina. And when it comes to love and romance and relationship, Blanca helps you find the right partner who's worthy of love by using and understanding body language and lie-busting techniques. I can't wait to hear those. She'll teach you how to identify partners who really love, care, and respect you. And as we know, many times it isn't what's said, but seen that can create and destroy relationships. Fun fact also, I know that you have done commentary on episodes of Bachelor and Bachelorette. True, right?
Yes, very true.
Oh my God, I love it. That's why I had a fangirl crush on you. And she also created a national holiday called National Body Language Day that's celebrated the first Friday of every October, which is basically the week that we're recording this. This is so it's synchronicity. Okay, well, first of all, I just want to know, like, I have a whole lot of questions, but I just want to like hit it right at the gate here.
Okay.
If you, because I watch episodes, you know, I'm obsessed with all things Bachelor Nation and now basically any other dating reality show. But like, what is the biggest signal that you see that is, you know, it's reflected on these shows? But even if you don't watch these shows, you should know about this one because it is the one that shows up the loudest and the proudest and will give you the biggest clue.
Biggest clue for what? About what's going on with the couple?
Yeah, like what's going on? Like, is this guy into you? Is he not into you? Like, is he a player? Is he?
It is. It's a great question. And the answer is it's a consistency between what he says versus what he shows in his body language. For example, if a guy says, I think I'm falling in love with you. Okay, let's see the body language that supports that statement. Where's the eye contact? Where's the physical closeness? Where is the touch? Where is the playfulness? You want to be able to make sure you see the body language that supports the words, because if they don't match, then words do not matter. People are going to believe the body language.
So do you ever watch Love Island?
No, I've not seen that show.
You're probably way too busy to watch Love Island because there's like freaking 50 damn episodes in a season. But there was this whole guy, and I think this happens all the time. When a woman is dating someone or even in a relationship with someone and he is saying all these things like, I really care about you, or I love you, or I'm falling for you, or I mean, I've said you're my girlfriend, or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not matching up. And so when that happens, ladies should start looking for what? Like you said, eye contact. What is another one that's really big?
Touch. If the more someone wants to be with you emotionally and physically, the more they're drawn to you, the more they're going to want to touch you. That's part of relationships. I'm talking about like touching your cheek, giving you a kiss on your forehead or on your cheek, right? Touching your arm, your hand, rubbing your back. You want to see touch. You want to see when you're walking side by side, you accidentally on purpose brush up against each other. I mean, that's cute. It's playful. You'll see preening. This is like if you have like a lint on your shirt or something isn't quite right, they'll fix it for you. Those are the types of things that you want to see. It's caring behaviors. You
I
want to
love
see
that.
passion, but you want to see caring behaviors also.
Like the gorillas. I went to Africa.
Yes.
And I saw the silverbacks, right? And
Yes.
they're constantly doing that, right? Like
Grooming each other.
picking a fly out of your ear hair. Very important to do. So I'm so curious. Like, how did you get into this area to begin with? Like, how did you become an expert at body language?
So I have to take you back to my childhood a little bit. I
Okay.
didn't have a very happy childhood, but to make a long story short, I was abused. And when I was little, I was always watching for changes in behavior. Now, I had no idea what I was doing until I was an adult reflecting back on my life. But I listened to like changes of voice, even steps down the hallway. I could identify whether someone was happy or someone was aggressive just by listening to footsteps. I paid attention to all those types of nonverbal behaviors because it gave me a sense of what was going to happen. So it is no difference. Like if you're in a dark alley, for example, and you see someone, you're not sure, you're going to pay attention because it's about survival. And so that's how it started for me. And it got just better over time. And then I went and I earned a master's degree in psychology. And then I have trained with very well-respected body language experts and detecting deception experts. And I just blended the two together and voila, here I am.
That's so amazing. You know, we do these man panel things at our virtual and live events. We have a bunch of guys and the women get to ask them questions. And I had someone there who was a guest of someone just observing, and he was an FBI agent. And I was like, I love this guy. And I said his name. Is it? And he was like, that guy's so full of shit. And I was like, really? What?
Oh.
Yeah. And he was just like, yeah. And I realized that, like, and that's what I think, like, let's start there, like with that person who can be very charming, but maybe they're inconsistent in their body language. What is it that you can do so that you can take the lead in that? Like, how can, instead of just waiting and being like sort of guarded and saying, let's see what his body language is like, is there a way where you can be engaged and like not guarded and also be a detective in this area?
Oh, yeah, that's a fabulous question. And it boils down to being playful. And the reason you want to be playful is you can get away with a lot more being playful before somebody goes, wait a second, what's happening here? Am I being analyzed? Because you're hiding it. You're camouflaging what you're doing. So you can be playful with your words and the types of things that you say to see how they respond. For example, let's say you want to know this guy's view on women. You can playfully bring up a situation from the past and you can make it up. What is your thought? What is your opinion on, I read this really crazy story about this guy who did blah, 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 blah. What do you think about that? But just be playful. And when people are not guarded, they tend to share more. And if you're being very friendly, they're going to want to talk to you because there's no reason to be threatened by you. And more than likely, they're going to share more. And people will tell you who they are when you use indirectness more than directness.
That is, okay, underline. This is where you hit that little rewind button and you write down what Blanca has just said, because that is counterintuitive to what most people do when they're dating, right? Especially our very, let's just lovingly call like type A recovering perfectionists or not recovering. Right. They're like, they go in there and they always say like, I'm totally open. And I'm like, just because you don't have your arms crossed over your chest doesn't mean that that's not the vibe you're putting out there. Right. And so then they're like, okay, well, show me you're not a jerk like all the other jerks I dated. And what I hear you saying is that when you're playful and you go in open, the other person then puts down their guard. So you actually can, you can actually get more information about who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's correct.
So let me ask you this. So just because I'm going to put all of our ladies, all our listeners on trial here for a minute. So ladies, get ready for this. I'm telling them, right, like, your arms aren't crossed, but you're still showing up guarded. What are the little things that women do when you're observing them on dates that even though they're wearing a dress and they're feminine, they say like, oh, I wear a dress, I'm very feminine. But they actually, their energy is like, I'm going to kick your motherfucking ass.
Oh, yeah. It is down to like their nose and their chin. Sometimes if they feel like a guy's full of shit, they'll lift that chin up just a little bit, or they'll lift that nose up just a little bit, and it comes across as arrogant. It's like, yeah, really? I'm not buying what you're saying. Sometimes there could be a sign of contempt. Now, contempt is a micro expression. So these are facial expressions that we make unconsciously that reveal how we really feel. They occur within a blink of an eye. So contempt is our only unilateral facial expression, where that is one corner of your lips comes up slightly, or it could be exaggerated. Pay attention to that. So when you feel you're better than, this guy is beneath you, or you have some moral superiority that could just be off-putting, then that corner of your lip can come up.
That's so amazing. This is probably, I don't even know if this is too detailed, but does it impact like the muscles around your throat, or like then the tone of your voice, or how you speak? Does it go down to that level?
That's a great question. So no, it isn't a cause and effect, but there's a correlation. When you feel like you're better than someone, your voice can change. You can talk a little more guarded. You can talk a little in a higher pitch. So it's kind of like it goes hand in hand, but it is not cause and effect, because it changes everything. You might look down at somebody. You might look like down, like off of your shoulder. You're looking down at them.
Okay. And what if you're the opposite? What if you're like, oh my God, this guy's so hot. Oh my God, he's so hot. This is the one guy. I've never had chemistry like this before. Oh my God. Like, I hope you're like low key, like, please like me. Please let this be my guy. What's your body language do then? That's also not attractive, by the way.
This is where you can become very hovering. This is where you get really close. So instead of earlier when I talked about like an accidental on purpose brushing of the arm, this is where you put your arm on him and it doesn't get off. This is where you're like marking territory. This is where you're like constantly touching his hair, touching his arm, or you laugh exaggeratedly at everything he's saying. And he could say, check, please. And you're like, ha, 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 ha. That was so funny. I mean, but it happens.
No, totally.
Yeah, it's too much syrup. It's too much chocolate sauce on the ice cream.
Okay.
It's just too much.
So are you watching Bachelor in Paradise?
I have seen a couple of the episodes, yes.
Well, because
I don't think I'm caught up yet.
Okay, well, so there's this one character, Demi, and we do a little show about it every week, but there's this character, Demi, and she basically, her vibe is like the way I get a guy is through being overtly sexual, right? Which is a whole other sort of like body language, right? So you've got like fuck off, you've got pick me, and then you've got fuck me, right? Like my worth is, right? Like my worth is like and this woman would say like, oh, like I'm so fun, like I'm so free spirited, right? Like that's so sexy or whatever it is. So when you're being a little too overtly sexual or making that be your value, what's the body language? How's that different also by like the pick me?
Well, first of all, if you have to tell someone that you're fun and you're sexy and you're this and you're that, then you're really not. Yeah. You're trying to convince somebody of what you are instead of naturally showing it.
Well, that's brilliant right there.
Yeah. And guys are going to see through that. They are going to see. Is Debbie the blonde?
Yes.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
She's like the tiniest little thing. Very tiny human. And she was like the belle of the ball in prior seasons. And this season, she just, had zero luck and was trying to win love through sex. And so we talked on the show about the language thing. But I was just curious, like, I was starting to think, like, was her body language saying that before she even opened her mouth?
Well, when you have that type of attitude, then you're going to have more sexual body language. You might like lower your shoulders a little more. You might make sure that the clothes that you're wearing are a little more risque. They're showing more skin. And it can be like even how you move your hand. It can be more sensual. It's just, I wish you could see me right now, but it's just like, they're not harsh movements. It's almost like you're drawing in the air with your hand. If you almost think of like a princess wave, that type of movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very soft that way.
So you could be feminine and you could be flirty doing these kinds of things, but not in a way where you're overtly trying to compensate. Exactly. And I think that's what I hear you saying is that when you're compensating for some sort of lack of self or lack of self-confidence or whatever it is, your body language doesn't lie, even if you think you're being very, very, creative and clever about it.
Absolutely. Because the body's not picking up on the signals that the brain's trying to send. There's a mismatch. There's a disconnection.
That's so interesting. So, and how does that work, right? Because I always tell people you can't think your way out of your thoughts. Like they're there, right? Even if you say like, oh, I'm going to be open, but you have contempt. So would you say that the way to sort of, I don't know if the word you use is heal or adjust, change, transform these sort of things. What do you think is the best way to go about being intentional around your physical expression and body language when you want to change these things?
And make them more positive?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Unless you're doing a social experiment and you want to see, or you're on a date with someone you don't like and you're like, Blanca told me, here's how I can turn him off.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, so if you want to calm down that sexuality, is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you want to calm down that sexuality, then you really change the mindset. You want a man to love you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. You can only pretend for so long. You want that transparency. That's where words are really impactful. That's where you can be very sexual or sensual, I should say, not sexual, but very sensual. And oh my gosh, Charlie, I'm having such a hard time keeping my hands off of you. I want to touch you right now. I mean, that's sexy. You're not actually doing it. It's like you're giving them a little verbal tease. And so what happened with your body language is like your hands might move towards them and then you bring them back. That's pretty hot. It's about the image that the man can paint. I mean, men love women, but men really like that chase. Men want to know that not everybody can get a certain woman. I mean, so when you have that self-control, I mean, he's going, oh my gosh, what would she be like if we ever get to that point and we're in the bedroom? In the boom boom room.
In the boom boom room, right? Exactly. I love that. The boom boom room.
Yeah, the boom boom room. Like, how is she really going to be like? So I say you can use your words. You would be surprised how many people want for the partner to guess what's going on in their head and how many times they strike out. You would think people would know better by now, but you don't. You keep trying the old way of doing it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you have to give them every single narrative, every single thought that goes in your brain either. I mean, that can be off-putting. So you have to find that balance.
Yeah. That's, I think what's really interesting, what you're saying is that your body language is going to reflect your attitude and your mindset. And your body language alone isn't going to communicate everything that needs to be communicated to create attraction with a high quality guy, meaning someone who's like, actually looking for a relationship. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Exactly. There's going to be a connection. There's going to be synchronicity in between what you think and your emotions and your body language. And that's powerful. When they all line up, that's power.
And then what about like all these I don't know if they're are they old wives' tales or not? Like the whole thing, like if you touch your neck, is that like a good thing? If you like brush your hair, like are there some things that we've been told are very flirty that actually don't send that message? And what are those things that are just evoke that confidence and that comfort and that like I'm a woman of value?
Excellent question. So yes, there are some wives' tale, but you have to put everything in context. So a neck rub in and of itself means nothing if you have this look of distress on your face and you're sweating.
Right.
that means nothing.
That means I'm having a hot flash, possibly.
Right, maybe, exactly. But it's not like take me to the boom boom room.
Right.
No. So when you're going to rub your neck, this is where you're going to tilt your head and you want to expose that carotid artery. That's a very vulnerable part of our body. When you expose vulnerable parts of your body, like your neck, the message that you're sending is not only attraction, but I trust you enough that I'm showing you my neck. I mean,
Wow.
yes, it really goes much deeper than just a neck rub. And when women brush their hair, normally people think you just take my hair out of my face means I'm being flirty. Nope. Normally, usually, if you're taking the front part of your hair, like your bangs, and you're side sweeping them, it could be one that they're actually in your eyes and you can't see, so it's bothering you. Or two, it could be a nervous gesture. It's when you're going to the middle and the back of your hair, when you're playing with it, then that comes across as flirty. Then it comes across as more sensual.
I love that. And what about, okay, this was my pet peeve when I used to observe people doing speed dating, is how they would sit at like a table, like a little, what do you call those little things? Like a little coffee shop, little table. And
Oh, yeah.
I'd see ladies like, sometimes like maybe they're putting their elbows or their forearms on the table, or they're leaning in, like furrowing brow, to, like listen, like what, like if you're going to sit on a date and you want to have like, I'm open, evoke that. What do you do?
You want to make sure you're sitting more catty corner in your chairs. You don't want to be face to face in chairs. That's confrontational. Think about basketball players, right? Jump ball. They're right in front of each other, right? Or football players, right? They're right in front of each other. The offensive and the defense are right in front of each other. That's more confrontational. Boxers. No. It's sitting catty corner. That's what makes men more relaxed. And you just a little bit. So if you're sitting catty corner, then you're going to turn. You want to turn your upper body facing them. You want to have your hands, you can lay them on the table, but you want to be able to see the natural curvature of your hand. If you straighten your fingers out and they're hyperextended, well, that's not normal. That's not how we walk around. If we have our fingers balled in a fist, or we're playing with our fingers, that's not how we typically show that we're relaxed. So that's why you want to see the natural curvature of your hand. And for me, your hands are like an emotional barometer of how you're feeling in the moment. And then you want to give him eye contact. You want to look at him. Yeah, this is not a stare down. Stare downs are absolutely creepy. No. Nix nay on the stare downs. But you do want to look at him, particularly when he's talking or you're talking. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't look around also. Of course, don't look at anybody else, but we're not robots. So something else might get our attention and we might look, right? Maybe the bartender's walking by, I don't know. Or maybe you have a thought. You get asked a question that makes you think, oh, when was the last time I was in Spain? Let me think about that. Was that 92, 93? Some people might look up, and that's okay. People are visual. So sometimes that's that visual memory that's coming to mind as they're talking. So I make these points to say that you don't have to have a staring contest with somebody. And then you do want to lean in just a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about you're leaning in from your waist and you're going like almost at a 90-degree angle towards the person. No. But if you just lean your shoulders forward a little bit, it gives the perception of you're moving in a little physically closer, but your lower half isn't moving closer because you're just leaning in with your shoulders just a little bit. And that lets somebody know that you're interested, or continue with what you're saying. I like what we're talking about. You can take your hand and you can touch their arm or their hand just briefly. Just touch it, see what the response is. You'll know if he likes it or not, if he jerks away, or if he stares at your hand, or if
he freezes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a question for you. Yeah. I'm just so happy you're on my show. I just got to tell you, I'm like, I want to ask everything I ever thought. We talk a lot about who should pay for a date, right? And there's the ongoing controversy about the fake purse grab. Okay, and I am dying to know, because I have an opinion about it. I can tell you that with you later, but when you do the fake purse grab, like the bill comes and you like absolutely expect him to pay, but you're like doing this like polite or whatever it is. Does a guy, can he sense it's a fake purse grab? Do people do it awkwardly? Is there a way to do it so it comes across sincere, or am I just making all this shit up?
You're not making this shit up.
Okay.
Because what happens are people have different reaction time. I mean, you have to think about it this way also. Maybe he's just sitting back to see what in the world you're going to do. So your reaction time might be faster. If your reaction time is faster, but no follow through, you sold yourself. You told him exactly what you were thinking. I'm politely pretending that I'm going to pay for half, but I'm not. There has to be follow through. So you have to be very careful with that.
Do you think that you should just wait Like, is there a perfect time to do if that's your thing, to do the fake purse grab?
I say, see where it is in the conversation. Let's say the check is brought, but you two are in the middle of a conversation. That is not the time to do this fake purse grab. The time is after the conversation, when there's a lull in the conversation, when you get a sense that he wants to pay, there'll be body language signs, right? He might start looking around, feeling for his wallet. You'll get the signs, and then you can see.
Okay, so pay attention. I think the other thing is that women, I hear, they get so uncomfortable in that moment, or they have anticipatory anxiety, like you said. And so they just go for it right away out of like a lack of comfort. Or I had a client say, she went on a date with a guy and he said, I think like my job might be ending. I'm really concerned about something going on at work. And she like literally, I'll pay. When the chick came, she couldn't, it was hard for her to be in that. So you got to like let it breathe and pay attention to his moves.
Absolutely. And in this situation, the example that you just gave, it could be that he was just telling what's going on in his life, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he wasn't going to pay for the date. So you have to be careful with mind reading also.
Yeah, just having a conversation.
Yeah. Having a conversation, yeah. Sure, it's awkward. I get it. It's awkward. Hey, you're inviting me out. So does this mean we're going Dutch? Are you paying? Like, what's exactly happening here?
Oh, I love that. That would have been great. Yeah, no, that's true. I think I would think that would be a good thing if someone says something like that and you're like, hey, I just want to make sure what your intention was on this date. Okay, let's talk about the swerve. Because the swerve, well, especially in COVID, but there's this sort of like a guy is like possibly you have a story made up, or he comes in and you don't feel ready to kiss, so you sort of like back away, or you like go, you sort of like avoid it. And it's awkward, but you actually like him, but maybe you don't feel ready to kiss him because you didn't have a certain conversation, or you just go slower. So if a woman is like interested, but she's not ready to be physical, like how could she have her expressive self say yes, even if her words are going to say no, or she wants to set a little boundary?
You use your words to set that boundary. I'm so attracted to you right now, but I know if we go inside, what's going to happen. And John, I want to take this a little slower. I want to get to know you. I want for us to just to hang and chill. Whatever words you want to use. Don't let your body language do the talking. Never, 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 never. That's not going to work.
I think that's
if you
so
feel
awesome.
Attracted. Yeah, right. If you feel attracted to him, say that. And you know what? Then he's going to be walking around with his like a silverback gorilla with that chest out and those shoulders back and that head held high, right? It's going to make him feel good. Instead of saying, damn, she doesn't, what happened? Like we're vibing in the restaurant and now look at this. No, that's why you want to say, if you are attracted to him, hey, I am attracted to you, but I'm going to pump the brakes on this a little bit.
I love that. So if you're, ladies, if you're on a date and you're like, I really like him. Oh God, though, I don't really want to kiss him. I'm not ready to kiss him. Like if you're having that little conversation in your head, it's probably going to be expressed somehow. So if that's what you're thinking, just have that really playful, like Blanca said, like a very playful conversation about it, like in advance before you even get to the door or before on the way while you're walking to the car.
Right. But use your body language. Now, this is the best time where you can use words and body language. I'm really attracted to you. You can touch his arm as you're saying it. You can hold his hands. I mean, you can even grip his face with your hands gently. Like, I'm really into you, but I've got to slow this down. I mean, use your voice. You notice how I just changed my voice and I was like, I've got to slow this down. I mean, he's going to hear that energy. He's going to see that passion. And he's going to know it's not fake if that's how you really feel. It's when women come across like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, no. What kind of woman do you think I am? And that look on the scowl on their face. And he's like, oh my God, I'm just attracted to you. And I wanted to come in for a kiss.
Yeah. Don't do
You got to be really careful because there will not be a second date. Even if he said, okay, I'll call you and we'll go out again. I wouldn't bank on that.
Right.
He's just trying to get out of it. Trying to get the hell out. That's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a question about now that we're doing all this video chatting and Zooming and FaceTiming and all of that. How can ladies be flirty, on a video chat, versus sort of in real life? Do you think that video is preventing people from making connections, or is it even more obvious? What's going on with video?
Great question. In video, you want it to be as real life as possible, meaning like if you were face to face. So don't set up this tripod where you're 6 feet away. This is where you hold the phone in your hand. And this is where you can get a little closer and flirty with the phone, and then you can move it back, right? You might lift the phone up a little bit so it's like you're looking up at him at certain times. I mean, you want to have fun when you're on the phone. You look at the camera. Now, this is very hard for people because a lot of times people want to look at the screen, which I get. When we see ourselves, what happens? We're looking at ourselves in a mirror, so we're looking into the mirror. I totally get that. Now, there are times where you want to look at the screen and you want to look at him and have fun, but there might be other times where you want to give eye contact, and the only way you can give eye contact through a virtual is looking in the camera lens, because that's how they're going to feel like you're actually looking at them. Now, you don't want to have a whole conversation that way because you really can't see each other, right? But maybe there's a certain time where, I don't know, maybe you want to say, hey, I'm really looking forward to seeing you Friday night. I would look in the camera lens, because then he's going to see those beautiful eyes of yours looking at him. And that's going to mimic in real life, person to person. So you just have to use the technology to your advantage.
I love that when I do my virtual events. And ladies, you can do this. I put a little Post-it note to remind me, because all of you all are like on Zoom, these Zoom monitors to my right and left. And so I put a little Post-it note right on the camera that says, look here, so that I remember that that's where you guys are, right? So ladies, get out your Post-it note and put it on your camera when you're doing these Zoom dates and say, look here, and maybe put like a big heart or some lips or something.
Yeah, you can. And when you're talking to them, you can be playful. Depending on how far along you are in the dating process and the relationship, you're like, oh, right now I just want to kiss you. And you get really close and, pucker your lips. Think about that. I mean, that's pretty cool when you're like, yeah, I really would like to kiss you right now. Okay, wait, what? When you have some energy, when you have some enthusiasm, when you have some vibe through virtual, they can feel that. You just have to show it on camera. Don't be afraid just because it's a camera.
You have to be, is it true that like you have to be more animated, like when you're watching a theater production and, you have to exaggerate. So on camera, it has to be a little bit even more.
Yes, you do. You have to. And that's just because the medium in which you're communicating.
Do you think video is helping people get connected, Blanca?
I think it's helping people not stay so isolated.
So they're getting out more.
Yes. And it's a safe way to do it. You're still talking to someone. Sure, there's a lot of things. I mean, when it comes to dating and relationships, I mean, it's feeling their breath on your skin, right? It's like when they're getting really close. It's all these other things that are just so wonderful when you're face to face. But if you don't have it on virtual, then you just have to do with what you got. And so you just have to make adjustments.
Do you think that if a woman like puts an actual outfit on that she would wear on a date, like a dress or like, versus just having a cute top and then wearing her sweatpants, do you think that impacts that like body language and that expressive self? Yeah.
Yes, because you feel more sexy. Think about that. When you leave the house, you're not half dressed. You don't have joggers on with this really cute, sexy top. That just doesn't go, right? No. When you wear it, you're going to show it because it's going to come across in your body language. You're going to feel more comfortable, more confident, more sexy, more sensual. And he's going to pick up those vibes because that's how you're feeling.
I love that, including the shoes. I had this whole phase where I was I decided to, and I've always worked virtually, but I had this whole year where I was like, I am putting shoes on every day. I'm going to wear cute shoes to work, even though no one will see them. And I didn't keep it up, but I noticed that I felt like more present in being that part of myself on camera because I had the whole outfit, including the shoes.
Absolutely. It's dressing the part. That's how I am when I go on air. I can walk into any studio. My feet aren't going to be shown. To me, heels are part of the ensemble. Now, I will wear sneakers. I'll wear kicks to the studio. And then when I leave in the studio, I put them right back on, wear sneakers out. But when I'm there and I'm on set, whether my feet are shown or not, which they're not, I'm wearing my high heels because it's part of it for me.
I love this. Here's what I'm really getting from you is like that everything is perceptible and everything makes a difference. And when we are like sort of like muting, or we think we're able to mute or hide something, it's all just getting transmitted, especially when you're talking about all those, did you call them micro movements?
Micro expressions.
Micro expressions. I mean, and that is that thing that a guy will say or a woman will say, like there was just no chemistry, right? And it's because of all of those things that are kind of combining together in this stew of an impression.
It's like a dance. You have to be coordinated and your movements have to be smooth in order for it to be a great dance. If there's a misstep, what happens? It's the same thing with body language. That's why thoughts and emotions and body language are all connected.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you can't hide. Wherever you go, ladies, there you freaking are. Last question, because I think that this is really interesting about how body language impacts even your connections with colleagues and, you know, your family or your children. Do the same sort of rules apply, or is it different for like work or when you're with your kids or you're with your family?
The principles of body language are the same, regardless of the people. It's the expression that can be different, right? You're going to hug your child differently than you're going to hug your lover. And that's how it should be. You're going to use a different tone of voice with your children than you would with a colleague. So there are going to be differences, and that's okay. But the dynamics of body language are the same, meaning if you're friendly, someone's going to be friendly back. If you're friendly, they're going to want to be around you. It makes them feel good. So that holds the same regardless what type of relationship it is. It's the expression of the body language can be different depending on the type of relationship.
Well, this has been so fascinating. Now I'm going to ask you one last Bachelor question, because I think you commented on this, maybe on in a magazine, maybe not, but I think I saw something about Matt James' season. Ladies, if you're like don't want to hear me talk about The Bachelor, you can pause. But I want to know, okay, remember on Matt James' season when he weirdly touched his mom's leg?
Oh, no.
Okay, Blanca.
Oh, no.
I am going to send you this clip just because I was like, that is fucking weird. And I need to know if you think it was weird. So just like offline, I'm going to send that to you because I want to get your professional opinion.
Yeah, because now I'm curious. Now I want to see it.
Okay, we're going to do that offline. I'll let you know. For those of you who care, I'll let you know what Blanca says. Blanca, next time we'll have to meet on video because I would have loved to see all of your expressions because you are a hoot, and I'd love to have real coffee with you sometime in a real dating den. Ladies, whatever you do it with some damn dignity because you cannot hide. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Battista, and let's talk soon.